Hey, I'm Katie Wesley,
And I'm Kaylee Williams.
and the topic we chose to do our presentation on it was over flexibility. Sorry, guys, you're gonna have to hang with this. Okay, so flexibility can be defined as a measure of the degree of movement that occurs at a joint. So we just included this picture of a cat that is super flexible. We thought it was cute and funny.
So, flexibility does have a purpose. It's not just something dancers or cheerleaders use, but it's something that people use in their everyday life, such as like getting out of bed. Something as easy as that requires flexibility. Sweeping the floor, and maybe when you have kids, even just lifting your child up, you need flexibility for it. So, flexibility's purpose has a lot to do with range of motion, which will increase your workouts, and then also has to do with decreasing your stress. Because if you're stretching and stretching your body out, it can emotionally help you in the stress aspect.
Okay, so just kind of a brief overview of what all we're going to talk about throughout this presentation. We narrowed it down into three main points. So the first one is just going to be talking about the importance of stretching and just why it's beneficial to you guys and everyone to improve your overall flexibility. Then we're going to go over in more depth about overtraining and putting more stress on those muscles and kind of the side effects you can get from that. And then we are going to give you a sample plan so you guys can improve your flexibility.
So people always ask, why stretch? Because you have to do it before warm-ups, you do it in activities. They just advise you to stretch daily. So why stretch? When we were asking this question to ourselves, we found a research article titled A Review of Acute Effects of Static and Dynamic Stretching on Performance Stats. There's a scientific evidence that the incidence of injury decreases when people include flexibility training in their routines due to the enhanced ability to move with their range of motion. So range of motion, like having a greater one, will increase like the factor of you not getting injured, because the further you can move, your body extends its limits basically. So it also came out that it reduces your stress in the exercising muscles and releases tension developing during the workout. Assists with posture by balancing the tension placed across the joint by the muscles that cross it. Proper posture has a lot to do with flexibility and in like the muscles that it affects. So having proper posture will minimize stress and maximize the strength of all joint movements.
Okay, so like I talked about, when we were doing research, obviously there are a couple of side effects you have to take into consideration when thinking about stretching and becoming more flexible. So the two topics are overtraining and overstretching, and we found an article from the Acute Benefits and Risks of Passive Stretching, and it just stated that it's very possible that you can stretch so much that you strain or even tear a muscle, but more than likely it's just a nerve getting a pinch in your nerve. But a lot of people just think, oh, I'm going to do this and hold it for this, and then they'll just increase their flexibility over time. But it's really important to listen to your body, because if you do pinch that nerve and then extend past that point, that's when you do end up going into those tears and pulling muscles. So just really being cognitive of your body signs, and like everybody's different, and just it's not going to happen overnight, but it's a gradual process.
So we had came up with a sample plan to like just help in general. And you have to know the first you need to know like the three forms of stretching. You have static, which is like slow and constant. You're gonna hold it for so long at a point of where you're not in pain, but you're slightly uncomfortable. And then ballistic, which is a bouncing motion, but you're always moving and it has like no end point. Then you have dynamic, and which is the one that we decided to choose, which I'll explain here in a second, but it's like more sports specific movements. Like it has to prepare your body for activity. So we chose dynamic because stretching program because Douglas Mann states in his guideline research for flexibility that dynamic flexibility programs incorporate the whole body and mimic movement performed for each individual sport. So just like the sample, we use the lunge with twist, the heel to heel, and then the walking while grabbing your knee and arm swings. So dynamic flexibility should be used as a warm-up, and stretching technique should be done continuously with down and back sets. So in each of these, you will go down the floor and then you'll come back. The intensity of a dynamic flexibility warm up should vary according to the level of athlete. You don't want to do these under intense like fatigue because you could fall, you could injure yourself. So start dynamic flexibility exercises slowly and progress faster as you become more advanced with them. So it's more important to take your time with these than to rush through them and end up injured.
Okay, so a kind of wrap up of everything. I know we just threw a lot of information at you. So just stretching and flexibility is like a super broad topic, and there's obviously a bunch of research on it, a bunch of reasons why you should stretch, but we kind of have it broken down into these six reasons. So we said obviously to decrease your muscle stiffness. So a lot of times people think that it's just for athletes to prevent injuries, but it's also very useful for a lot of other people just to as a preventative measure. It also can increase your range of motion. That kind of also goes into preventing injuries. Kaylee got into that a little bit. It improves your posture and even your circulation. Again, helps reduce pain. And on top of all of that, it also can help decrease your stress levels. So, Kaylee, you might be wondering what kind of car is the most flexible?
Well, I hope it's one that stretches.
It's the Mercedes Benz.
Well, if they can bend, they must stretch.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, but if you guys, on a serious note, if you have any more questions about flexibility, stretching, getting a plan, you guys can email us or message us on Canvas for any other questions you have last minute. And here are our sources.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.